Welcome back to another episode of the Autonomy podcast. It's me, Nathan, and today I'm going to speak about how you can eat the traditional South Asian diet and stay in shape forever, and also get in shape firstly. So why is this firstly actually important? Like, what realistically value does this have on your life? So the most important thing is, as always with this, is that most of our clients that we work with are South Asian by nature. They are the expats, or if you want to call them Desis, whichever way you want to call them, from Nairobi in the UK, US, all that type of stuff, or Australia. They're always from third or fourth generation. Their parents came over, or grandparents came over, or grandparents came over, and therefore they have the cultural traditions, right? And the majority of the time is that some of these traditions have been very inconducive to dieting, and some of them are hold true, whether it's family cooking, whether it's the wedding season, whether it's the food that they eat. It's always been notorious that you can't get in shape eating that type of stuff, too many calories, it's quote unquote heavy, and it's just not particularly helpful or true to believe that you can't eat those foods and stay in shape or get in shape. And we're on a mission to make sure that people can eat that type of food, whether it's twice a week, 6 times a week, or even twice a day if they really wanted to, and prove that you can do that. And it's really important to have that stuff. So like, even as a white guy myself, the way I would look at it from my culture or whatever privileged position I'm in is that, how do I eat my mum's cooking and stay in shape? The same process applies. How do I eat family's cooking and stay in shape? Whether that's fish and chips, roti dal and rice, or it's fucking dinner, it still is the same process. And why is that important? Well, because family time, family, eating out with family, eating out with friends and family, eating out with girlfriends, boyfriends, is super, super important when it comes to a lifestyle. Socializing, I go out twice a week, I go and see friends, and if I didn't know how to eat whatever food we go and see, I would not be on a diet. I would fail miserably, and I would be yo-yo dieting for a long time. So it's really, really important to note that you have to learn how to eat whatever cultural foods that you have. Mine was spaghetti bolognese on a Monday, jar curry, don't shoot me clients, jar curry on a Tuesday, jalfrezi probably, or a korma, and then Wednesday was burgers or chicken fajitas. Why would you want to eat those foods and stay in shape? Well, because that's what most people do. Most people have different dinners that they revolve around different food sources, and you don't want to be eating just rice just because you feel like you have to on a diet, or even when you're staying in shape. So in order for people to understand where they're going, you have to understand what's in their past and what is their traditions, what is their cultural norms. And when we look at most of our client base, South Asian individuals, they have a heavy focus towards 2 to 3 times a week, potentially eating mum's cooking, auntie's cooking, wife's cooking that particular food, or they're having it as a veggie, they're having the mung dals, they're having the different stuff, the rotis, whatever, the pakoras, and they feel limited that they can't eat that food when they're dieting. They feel like that food is not conducive, and they've probably been told by many other coaches and many other people that you can't do that because simply the coach was inadequate to find a way to make it happen. That then leads people down a path of having to change their whole lifestyle to fit around other people's expectations of food. I've had it before, and I can honestly say hands down that back in my day, back in 5-6 years ago, I was a firm believer that you couldn't eat traditional South Asian food and get in shape. I was a firm believer that you couldn't eat that type of food, I guess because I didn't know how to do it. And I would only eat things like chicken, rice, fucking beef and potatoes. And for me, that was okay because I was okay with that. I liked it. But that's not everybody. And if you move yourself out of your normal food intake, you have to change your whole lifestyle to accommodate this new way of eating. But this new way of eating isn't something that has to be done. And that's where people were falling into a bit of a crack, where they were going on diets. They were not sticking to them because they didn't want to change their whole lifestyle. Maybe their family were cooking for them and they felt resistance from the family, because most people, South Asian community, live at home until they get married. So therefore they were probably getting some resistance from the evening food. They probably have to cook their own food, or they probably were going without, or whatever. So they always felt like they had to conform to someone else's diet to get in shape. And yeah, there was 20% of people that changed their lifestyle in that direction and became the people that weighed the food, tracked the food, ate single ingredient foods like the tofus and rices, the chicken and rices, the veggie curry and rices. Not even that, it probably wouldn't even allow that. But like, they moved and transitioned their whole lifestyle for this healthier lifestyle. And the determination of healthy is a very broad spectrum statement, and I'll probably get to another podcast around why your version of healthy is not healthy, or why the normal version of healthy is not healthy. So 80% of people that go on diets, that eat the normal foods that diet plans have, the smoothie diets, the shake diets, the single ingredient food diets, the chicken, rice and broccoli diets, the tofu and veggie diets, end up falling off because that's not what they're used to. That's not their normal. And unless you're wanting to absolutely change your lifestyle and you absolutely want to move down that route, it would fail. And the pain of having to change your whole lifestyle is significantly massive. Like if I changed my whole lifestyle in the opposite direction, if I went from eating 3-4 meals a day to not drinking very much to drinking every day to eating 3 takeaways a day, that lifestyle change would be significantly drastic, and it would change my dynamics completely and what I was willing to do and how I would do it. So most people don't want to change their whole lifestyle. They want to choose bits and bobs out of a different lifestyle and implement it into their day. They want to walk more. They want to eat more veggies. They want to eat less snacks, but they don't want to change the whole scenario that they're in because they probably like some part of it, and you should like some part of your lifestyle, otherwise you probably wouldn't do it. So when we were looking at helping people, there was always this thing of where you would give them a diet plan and it wouldn't all flatten its arse because people weren't willing to do it. And at some point, instead of blaming the clients for not being consistent and motivating and having enough discipline and drive and consistency, we looked internally and we looked at what we were doing with the people that we had and how we were interacting with them, what type of diets we were giving people, what type of food sources we were giving them. And we came to the realization that, very similar to other people, but they didn't make those changes, is that we weren't giving the best advice. We weren't getting the best service out there. We can't expect people to change their whole lifestyle and eat tofu and veggies for the rest of their life. So how do we give them what they want? And the reason why you want to keep some sort of your cultural norms in there is because it's going to be ever present throughout your lifestyle. You might be on this health kick, but your mates might want to go Regency and have a curry. Your mum might be cooking some food and bring it over for the kids or bring it over for your family to eat. It's always going to be ever present. So we thought, why don't we teach you how to do it as opposed to be resistant against it? So that was a couple of years ago, before Autonomy really. And then Autonomy came around where I was able to have my own coaching and do it the way that I wanted to do it and the way that the team wanted to do it. We realized that that was something that we wanted to do. We wanted to be the people that taught South Asian individuals how to eat the traditional South Asian food and actually get a result, actually get in shape and actually stay in shape. And what we found is that if they kept their traditional food in, they had less resistance from their family members to go in a diet. They had less resistance and friction within the kitchen because there wasn't 3 dinners that were being made on a night-to-night basis and then 3 levels of washing up and 3 levels of moaning around all the plates being used and all the Tupperware and whatever like that. And they found it easier to adopt the dieting side of things. The results were better because people were more consistent and they were able to go to social scenarios and have what they wanted instead of taking Tupperware. Like, it still blows my mind that I have friends that are coaches. I also see a lot on it on social media of clients who are South Asian taking Tupperware to their friend's house because they don't want to eat their friend's cooking, but to stay on plan within their mock meat or their tofu and veggies. And for me, that's wild. Alienate yourself away from your friends to that degree that you have to take your own food with you. Yes, there is a degree of where you have to sacrifice some degree of what they're doing versus what you're doing, but to alienate yourself completely would be the hardest thing to do on a consistent basis. Now, if you really want a goal in the shortest time frame possible, probably doing that is probably advisable. If you want the fastest results with the best results possible in the short term, then yes, take your fucking prep food to someone's house. But I just don't think it's a long-term strategy, nor a short-term win. If you can't go to a friend's house and adequately have a good portion of your food without going over your calories, you should be able to learn that, to be able to do that for the next 20 years, because you're going to go to your friend's house in 20 years' time. You're going to go to your mate's house. You're going to see other people and you're going to be exposed to those environments. Why would you not learn that? Why would you not learn how to have what you need from the food that is there versus removing yourself from a situation? That whole prep thing is the same reason why, for example, like when you remove chocolate from your diet, you overconsume it massively afterwards. It's the same reason why if you remove takeaways from your diet and then you go back to them, you eat loads of it, because you're removing yourself from a thing that you enjoy and you're not teaching yourself how to manage with that. That's why we're all big on social events, we're all big on takeaways, we're all big on making sure you are going out for dinner. We want to make sure that you can have these things in adequate portion sizes so that you're equipped for the next 20 years. And that's the most simplest way to look at why it's super important. I say to Dec all the time, and we have a conversation, is that we're not thinking short term with our approach to clients or the people that work with us or the strategies that we use. We're thinking in 20 years time, is the thing that we give them with Autonomy a lasting thing within their lifestyle, or was it something that I did Autonomy for 6 months and then after that I just went back to what I did before? We don't want that. We don't want anybody to go through a program with Autonomy or the methods that we have or the methodology that we implement to say, oh yeah, I did it for 6 months and then I couldn't do it after that. That's the worst possible outcome for us. So we're looking like long term, and every decision that we have has that element of like, in 20 years time you're going to be able to do this. If not, fuck off. Don't do it. If you've got like a big push, like a 4-week push or a 6-week push, sure, we can get more committed, we can get more sacrificial, we can get more devil in the detail, but not at the cost of not learning what you need to learn to stay in shape forever. We will never sacrifice what you need to do to get in shape forever versus the short-term wins. Because the short-term wins fade, the abs fade, you then maintain your weight a few kilos heavier. But if you don't learn the education to stay in shape forever, those abs will just be a picture that you put up on Instagram once a year on memories, and then your mates who have seen you lose weight are going to see you gain all the weight back, and they're going to say nothing, and they're just going to be something that you do. You're going to fall into that. Everyone does it, gain the weight back and back to their normal life. Whereas we don't want that. So it's really important to make sure that you're equipped with the strategies for the next 20 years. And that includes eating nutritional South Asian food and how to deal with mum's cooking, how to know how much of mum's cooking to have the education of how many pakoras, samosas, panipuras, whatever it is, to be able to have in relative terms to you staying on your cultural traditions at the same time as losing the weight and staying in shape afterwards. And it's lost in the realm of bodybuilding, it's lost in the realm of insufficient coaches, it's lost in the realm of short-term wins over long-term results. And whatever you sacrifice for today or sacrifice for the later, you'll get the opposite. You can't have everything. So you might not get the most extreme results in the short term with doing the traditional South Asian food and doing it in a way that we would maybe promote, but you're getting all the benefits in the long term, as opposed to the opposite way around, where you're getting extreme results in the beginning and then later down the line you're getting nothing. So it's like it's a to and fro in, and everything's on a continuum. You won't get the best of both worlds for anything really. You can't be rich and you can't go and spend for a day and then still save 200 grand in a year, right? Or 2 years. You have to have one or the other, and finding a balance between the two is really important. Everything is on a continuum in the spectrum. If I want to get a mortgage in 2 years' time, that's £1 million. I can't then go and blow 20k on a Rolex tomorrow, unless you've got a significant bankroll, but I ain't got that bread. So it's like you have to have one or the other and find a continuum where you're happy. Why do people go on holiday twice a year or once a year? And when they go away for once a year, they go all out. It's because their continuum is that they can't afford 2 all-out holidays a year, so they'd rather go all out once. Or other families would rather go 3 semi-big holidays, but for the same price as someone going all out for 1. It's the continuum that you play on. Would you rather have frequency or would you rather have intensity? For us, we play on the frequency side of things. We'd rather have the results stay for 20 years than have the intensity of dropping sizes in a week. I'd rather you keep it off for 20 years. So it's a long way for me to go through the whole reasons why you have to eat the traditional South Asian food, but ultimately the education, the need that it's going to be in your lifestyle. You shouldn't have to change your whole lifestyle, and you shouldn't have to fear that type of food to get in shape. You just need the right strategy. We learned the right strategy 3 years ago now, and we've been implementing it ever since. And everyone that comes in that wants to eat that food is allowed to eat that food because it's the way that they will live their life continuing after autonomy when we kick them out. And we have to service that. We have to do that. Otherwise we just fall short into the same places where every other fucking coaching business is, or any other fat loss program is. You fit yourself around a diet, whereas we fit the diet around become the ever-present difference. So in short, eat it because you're going to eat it in 20 years time. Sacrifice some short-term results for the long-term gain that you're going to have, and you will keep those results, and you'll be able to have that type of food forever, and you're going to anyway. So you might as well fucking learn how to do it. That was another podcast. Let me know if you like it.